La siguiente presentación.
The next presentation will be from Professor Rene Leiva, revision of the diagnostic kits and fertility monitors. Dr. Rene Leiva is family doctor in Canada, in Ontario. He is a very interested person in teaching natural methods and helping families in infertility issues.
Good evening. I'm Dr. Rene Leiva. I'm an assistant professor at the Department of Family Medicine at the University of Ottawa. I want to express my gratitude to the organizers of this conference. It is my hope that the information I'm going to share with you today is of help to your own efforts to promote natural family planning. I have two objectives today. The first one is to describe the combination of hormonal urinary testing, smartphone applications, and fertility analyzers for the dynamic monitoring of the menstrual cycle, as well as to explain the use of this technology for complemented menstrual cycle charting. I don't have, as a way of disclosure, all products used in this review were donated by the manufacturing companies. I don't have anything else to disclose. Briefly, we all know that the menstrual cycle is carefully regulated by a combination of hormones secreted by the pituitary gland as well as the ovaries. Simply put, FSH and LH hormones tend to peak before and around ovulation, while estradiol and progesterone have a more characteristic pattern that oscillates depending on the time of the cycle. One key message that I want to provide to you today is that hormonal pattern, as you can see here, hormonal pattern is the key to provide a general picture of the menstrual cycle. What I mean by that is that given the variability present on each of the assays, there is not necessarily a particular absolute number. It is more appropriate to focus on the day-to-day core formation or development that give us a better guidance where on the cycle a woman is. In this review, I will be discussing 5 products in the market: Clearblue, Primon, Proof, Myra, and Nitro. I carry out a comparison with all of them except Clearblue for the duration of one menstrual cycle in one patient. This I just completed this past month. And we'll talk about them each individually. So let's start with the Clearblue. Clearblue has been in the market for a few years. It measures, the analyzed data measure luteinizing hormone and estradiol. As far as I know, they don't have any future analyte in production. The method is an electronic monitor analyzer. They don't produce a quantitative result, nor they provide a plot or a graph. The cost of the monitors is $127 US, and each strip the cost is $1.43 per unit. Currently, the monitor is a touch screen monitor that provides a low, high, and a peak signal. High is when the surge in estradiol is produced, and the peak is when the surge in luteinizing hormone is produced. There is my friend and colleague, Dr. Thomas Bouchard, has worked for several years with the developers of Market NFP method, in particular Dr. Richard Ferrin, to develop, to address several NFP scenarios. I'm hoping that Dr. Bouchard is currently comparing it with other products in the market, and I hope to see his results published soon. You can refer to this article, for instance. So let's talk about the second one. Primon. Primon measures is a strip attached to an application reader in a smartphone. measures luteinizing hormone. It also produces a quantitative result, and as well as plot that results in a graph. The product is actually quite cheap. It's the qualitative LH strip test is only 25 cents, and the quantitative strip test is 1.8 per unit. Back in 2014, our team here in Ottawa carried out a research that showed us that the addition of a second marker, in this case LH strips, helped women who were using mucus-only methods of NFP and had difficulty interpreting their own signs. We found that the women are able to identify the fertile and peak window more accurately when they are using, excuse me, when they are using the strip, LH strips. Primon, what they brought us as an innovation, they use the smartphone camera and the application as a reader in the smartphone. They have come out with a very accurate way to identify the search and the LH peak. The technology they use is very simple, at least in theory. They compare the color density between the test line, as you can see here, and the control line. This is what is called the TC ratio, and it plots that ratio in a chart. For instance, here you can see early in the cycle, the density in the test line is lighter than the control line. But as we approach the peak, the density on both lines becomes similar, and that's what is plotted. So this is the example of my patient in the most recent cycle. As you can see from this pattern, this is a very typical pattern of LH surge, peak, and downwards trend. To confirm, a serum progesterone was done on the day right after peak and indicated that the woman had almost certainly ovulated. Another example that I provided a different patient is this is a patient who had continuous mucus on NFP. So she was very, she couldn't discern when the peak occurred because it was continuous mucus. But in this case, there were two peaks, but the last peak was confirmed to be ovulatory, and that definitely helped the patient to know when she was ovulating. This is another example that shows both the qualitative and the quantitative Primon strips. The upper curve uses the TC ratio. The lower uses the absolute quantitative result. As you can see, the pattern of both are almost identical. Until further validated, both tests could be used to identify the pattern. A second point, and as expected, as you can see here, the TC ratio of close to 1 is correlates to a LH level of 25 milli international units per ml. That makes sense because we found that in a study done in the past with Dr. Bouchard and Dr. Ecocard from France, we found that a level of 25 on the LH strips is the best level with the highest specificity to predict ovulation. So the next product in the market is Proof. Proof was the first manufacturer to produce a PDG test. They also produce the LH and FSH, but they are mostly known for the PDG or progesterone, prenadiol or progesterone, the urinary metabolite of progesterone. They also plan to release in the market the estradiol, and what they use is a strip coupled with the application reader. They also provide a quantitative result and as well as plot the graph. The price of each unit for a PDG test is $5 per unit. This is a different technology for the PDGA. They use a a strip. The strip uses a competitive solid phase immunoassay. So the difference this time, as you can see here in the figure, as the analyte increases, the test line fades and a positive result is indicated by only one line. So different from the LH test. The LH test 2 lines is positive. In this particular case, 1 line is positive. That's important to know. We did a preliminary study carried out that showed this test to be valid under specific criteria. So this is the graph of the same patient in the last month. We used the same samples for the 4 kits at the same time, so you can compare at the same time. So here, the application reader of proof uses the camera, and by using the same TC ratio approach that Primon uses, they capture both the LH and the PDG across the cycle. The upper one is the LH. As you can see, there is a rise and then a decrease, but for the PDG, it's more, it's clearer. You see at one point around post the LH surge, you have a surge on the PDG as it goes up. So this is another case why it's important focusing on the pattern, because if you don't follow the pattern, it may be very difficult to discern when a particular LH or PDG changes. As I already said, the LH was a little bit more elusive compared with Primon, but PDG surge over a baseline was more was clear. The proof, as I said, has developed a quantitative scale using a new application. You can see the surge of the PDG here. So let's talk about MIRA. But before that, strips are very versatile, and some of them can be very affordable. Also, one only needs a small phone with a camera to do that. However, capturing the image can be tricky depending on the several factors, such as lens accommodation, image resolution, background light, tremor, even tremor in the hands, and others. So this can produce variability in the results. Fertility analysis can provide more standardized. So that's why there is some in the market. So MIRA checks for LH and estradiol in the same wand, as well as they have PDG in the market. They use the monitor, both quantitative and they plot it. The price is $199 per monitor with $295 per unit. As you can see, this monitor produces a very smooth graph for both estradiol and LH, and its ovulation is clearly identified, and they produce quantitative results. Again, the progesterone was used to confirm ovulation. So let's talk about the last one in ATO. It's the new kit in the blog. What it does is in 1-in-1 or strip, it provides LH, estradiol, progesterone. Currently, it's also planning to release FSH. Use the monitor with a smartphone application. Uses a quantitative result and it plots. And the price is $149, and each strip is $326 per unit. So in ITO, it's basically it has a clip. It has the device. So it attaches to the iPhone. It's inserted on the side, and the camera aligns with the device using the technology, and both the one has 2 lateral flow assays, the one for LH and estradiol and progesterone, The monitor captures the image of the test strip using mobile applications. I process the image to yield the optical density, which in theory corresponds to the concentration of the metabolites, as you can see here. So it gives a very nice smooth curves for estradiol, LH surge, and progesterone following the LH surge. And it was confirmed by zero progesterone. As you see, it gives low fertility, high fertility. One can appreciate that reading the results with the naked eye are difficult. However, that's what the monitor does. It reads for, it analyzes the results, and it gives low fertility, high fertility, all the stages, peak, PDG rise, and then return to low fertility. Finally, here are some comparative quantitative results. Except for LH during peak, there is significant variability among the strips. You can see LH was 23, 39, 21, and Primon around 25. That was during peak. However, in early in the cycle and post-cycle, there is difference variability between LH, estradiol, and PTG. And you can see for P plus 1, we knew that, excuse me, we knew that progesterone was 2.5, and it gave us a number of 8.1 and proved a number of 0.8. However, it's important to remember that the patterns correlated very close and they were almost identical. So that's why it's important that at the person, the hormonal pattern developed by the kids and the monitors tends to be very accurate. So ideally, we need comparative validation studies, blood urine correlation, and ultrasound monitoring cycles. And I hope that this is going to lead to a more accurate results. Muchas gracias.